Okay, while everybody's getting seated, just once again, I want to welcome you all to Reach for the Stars. This is our 16th time we've done this. Started in 2006. Our first keynote was Sally Ride herself. And we've had a lot of astronauts, but we're branching out because I know a lot of you are interested in medicine. Medicine is, not surprising, the first track that sold out.
Wow.
So if any of you didn't get your first choice, that's why we got a keynote here for you.
Yes, give it up for medicine. Go medicine. Hey, come on. Woo.
So we're a little late starting, so I don't want to take any more of her time. Right. But Julianne is one of those fabulous people who combines my two favorite things, physics and medicine. Yay!
And what does that make? A medical physicist. Let's give it up for medical physics. Yay! Thank you, Dr. Wright. Thank you so much.
All right.
Yes. Hello, everyone. Can everyone hear my voice? If you hear my voice, clap 1, 2, 3. If I ever get to a point where you cannot hear me clearly, please raise a hand and say, bring it up. My name is Dr. Julianne Collardi, and I first and foremost want to give thanks and honor to the number of staff that it takes to put Reach for the Stars together. Whether you're wearing a yellow vest or you're Dr. Wright herself, full-grown physicist, 50 years practicing, and having to get you matter to me. Even if you didn't come to my table for an MD interview, which I hope you correct when we get back outside, I want you to understand you matter. Not just the students, but the mamas and the daddies I saw here too. All of the teachers and the community workers that represent the programs that Dr. Wright has brought to this campus. Thank you for actually believing in these kids enough to spend a whole Saturday and be here. Why? Because science needs you and everyone else too. Not just little girls and little boys. We do not care how you identify. If you are breathing, if you have life in your lungs right now, you should be in science. You should want to steal the white laptop that is just too hot for me to wear right now, up with my back, and take over what I started. We're going to get to tell you my story, but more importantly, help you identify what your story and your identity is in physics. And so once I get this to respond to me as I click and click and click.
Really?
Yeah. Is it right or left? Let's get it, otherwise I have to get the mouse over. It's not moving. All right, here we go. Let's try that.
Try that one.
Oh, nope. There. All right, so now we figured out the keyboard. If you are a scientist, stand on up. Calling all scientists. If you are a scientist, stand up. Now raise your hand. We got a problem. Houston, we have a problem. There's too many people sitting down. I would say 90% of our audience, and I'm pretty good at math, y'all are still sitting. Why? I want you to understand one of the biggest kept secrets about humanity is that there's something that we all need to know. Newsflash, we are all scientists. Everybody stand up. Everybody stand up. Everybody. Today is to prevent you from ever thinking that you are not a scientist or that you can't be a scientist. By raising of hands, who called you a scientist today besides me? Did anyone get called a scientist today? No. In life, a lot of people are going to look at you and say, you know what? You don't look like Einstein to me. You don't look like Charles Darwin to me. You don't look like you fit a white lab coat. I am here today to kill that myth. People who look like me, who look like you, who look like your auntie, your uncle, people you don't even like, all of us can be scientists. So what is science? Let's just break it down, because I think a lot of people think, hey, I don't have a PhD, I'm not a scientist, nor do I care, it's just too difficult. No, hello, science is not just a subject. Science is just how you look at the world, the way that you think. We are all scientists. I want you to understand, when you break down science practically, it's something you already do naturally as a human being. You observe something. How many guys looked at something today? You've been observing. Oh, you already got first step down. How many of you guys actually name things and call it something after you see it? You identify something. Hey, look at that. That's 2 steps. Then, do you make up an idea about how things work because of what you saw? Sometimes you stereotype, sometimes you classify and assume things based upon what you saw. We all do that. Go ahead and clap. And then if you do 2 extra things, if you then do something based upon what you just thought, you create an experiment to test out your thought. That's going to be the next step in creating science. And then finally, when you establish a whole idea or a law of how things work and create theory, then that is true science. You're already at least 3/5 of the way there. I'm going to help you take it home. So I'm going to start the talk explaining who I am, because I am not an astronaut. I need you to understand that at the minimum. Then I want to teach you, just the same way that I use my story for my strength, I want to teach you how to look at your life, everything that you've been through, and craft the best pre-scientist story in the world. And then finally, I'm going to teach you how to identify yourself as someone in science. I'm going to break down how you steal the white lab coat off my back. First and foremost, because we live in a legalistic time and there's a lot of laws changing and everything, I want to make sure, especially as my slides get thrown all over the internet, people understand all thoughts and content of this talk are purely my own, Dr. Julie Pollard Larkins. Not any reflection, none, of MD Anderson Cancer Center or, God forbid, the University of Texas system. Those regions had nothing to do with anything that I'm saying today. And then, of course, we actually have a contract with one of the companies. So please note, all of this talk is purely my own. And there's something that I need you to start off with. Understanding and debunking the idea that the way you are born, meaning your raw intelligence, determines your aptitude and therefore your altitude. Absolutely not. It is your attitude, how you think about things and decide how you're going to feel about it, not your aptitude or your raw intelligence, that will determine your aptitude, where you go, whether it is reaching for the stars or just reaching for the earth. You need to understand my attitude, whether or not I give up, whether or not I try despite getting a good feedback. That is more important than just being intelligent. I want you also to know I am the happiest physicist in the world. I will fight you over that. I need you to understand I love my life in science that I chose and I built by grit and determination, not because I was born special or different. I brought half of my kids here in the form of little Amani, who is blocking me out with her headphones, and this happens to be part of what makes me feel so whole. Notice the beautiful picture of me in the middle, heavily pregnant, but sitting on top of my Linac. Why? Because I love what I do. No other maternity photo shoot ever looks like that. Try to match that. What I want you to understand, radiation's got a bad rap. People are scared of it. Ever since the 1950s, we've been having horror stories and movies showing the huge gantries 30 feet in the air, hanging down over the place where the patient lies. And now we're moving to an era where we're using things called like flash radiotherapy, where they're using different types of beams to deliver radiation in a shortened time underneath a second to deliver all of the treatment. We have come a long way. Our field is phenomenal. Why? Because because a woman helped kick things started. Within 3 years of the discovery of radiation, the most famous woman scientist gave us radium as well as other elements, and polonium. What I want you to understand, Madame Marie Curie has created a standard that no other scientist has ever, since the 1800s, has ever matched. She was in our field. 2 Nobel Prizes and 2 separate categories. So seeing people who are literally geniuses in science, I get it. You're like, the bar is too high. How in the world am I gonna get 1, or God forbid, 2 Nobel Prizes? So forget this. I can't be like her. Well, I'm gonna tell you, there's room for you. You don't have to be a Madame Marie Curie. I need you to understand the reason why my field is so cool is because the imaging is so hot. We have people who are representing different aspects of radiation sitting over here to the left, and this is what we use in order to identify where the normal tissue is and wherever the cancer is. When you go for an imaging scan, have you ever looked at how beautiful you are on the inside? Forget all that outside stuff. Woo, can't fix that. But on the inside, you are a masterpiece. I want you also to recognize that as my role as a medical physicist, I treat patients in thoracic radiation oncology, and I have been a part of implementing all the newest technologies for our lung cancer patients, moving us from the era of very rudimentary techniques of just static fields all the way now to what we call volumetric arc therapy. But I want you also to understand, I don't do this work alone. It is not a me, myself, and I type of job. I work with the best physics team in the world to bring about the best cures. Just across the street over there at MD Anderson Cancer Center. And we have a whole army of people. You see all those white lab coats? Parents and children alike? Look at all that. And that's not even all of us. Altogether, we have upwards of 200 faculty in radiation oncology who are either physicists or radiation oncology medical doctors who help treat patients. And this is just across the street. You can follow in our footsteps, and I am one of them. But I want you to understand, MD Anderson is #1. You should already know that. You see it in the airport. You also should know we are growing faster than the cancer we treat. We're spreading all over Texas, looking forward to taking over Austin soon. And what I want you to notice is that we have several jobs, whether you can be a radiation therapist, that's the technologist that only needs 2 years of training from college to all of a sudden make $100K plus per year, and you are treating patients. You can be a radiation therapist, a dosimetrist, the sky is the limit, physicist or medical doctor as well. I want you to understand there are several new centers from MD Anderson opening up in the time frame from when you guys will be ready to be hired. So for myself, how did I get here? How did I get in the best team on earth? This is how it all began. The day I was born. Isn't that a little eerie? I know. Ugh. Anyways, at the end of the day, I was cute. I haven't changed a whole lot. And I want you to understand, did I skip? I am an Army brat. So the first place after I got out of Augusta, Georgia, when I was about 3 years old, we moved to Germany. And it was there that I learned 4 different languages and got a sense of what it's like to be thrown in an environment where you don't understand anything, but as a very young child. And in that picture, the little gray picture of the DODDS Germany school, that was my school. And I literally most likely is that kid sitting in the back corner. What I want you to know, after we left Germany when I was about 8 years old, we came to Miami, and that's where I found my identity. I am just regular black, meaning I am not Latino. But at the end of the day, did I develop a whole accent and a whole other personality? When you move to Miami and you live, not vacation, when you live, spend almost 20 years of your life there, it changes you. It showed me a pride in your heritage and who you are that is undeniable. Texas ain't got nothing on the swag that Miami puts in you. We may not ride horses, but catch us with our pigs. You should see how we do a roast. I want you to understand where you come from is part of how you move forward. It teaches you how to see the world. My parents were educators. This is my mom, she taught business education, and this was my Army daddy. He taught JROTC. Big clap for all the vets and Those 2 people, when you put them together, have created the most beautiful little person you see in front of you. This was me, 10 years old Julie, and readily a super reader, meaning big nerd. Totally unpopular. It was known by the time I was 8, that girl's going places, but we don't really like it. Everybody had already decided that. I was loud, but I loved to read and do things. So mama plus daddy equals me, and I was ready for the world. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do until I met an astronaut. Astronauts are just aspirational. Why? Because they get to go to space. This picture, 1993. I know a lot of you never probably saw this picture before, but some of the adults maybe did. When this picture hit, it knocked my whole world over. I knew that I liked to study and I knew that I was smart and everything, but it wasn't until I saw her and read the article on her that I understood, oh my God, she went to MIT. Oh my God, she did chemical engineering? She had to do physics, she had to do chemistry, she had to even do some biology. And then I realized she mapped a plan for my life. When I saw her story, and I saw she was the first Black woman to go to space, Dr. Mae Jemison, also hailing down here in Houston. Everybody give it up for Dr. Mae. I realized that I had more potential than just the rough streets of Hialeah, Florida. I knew I could go further. So when I got to high school, just a couple of years older than you guys, I already knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to take every science class at the AP level, which is everybody's goal, right? AP, everybody's gonna try to do advanced placement. That's what I'm talking about. And so when I got to high school, I'm gonna tell you two quick stories. I was chubby. You saw them in the pictures, right? You saw little chubby me. I was horrible in PE. Horrible. When I say horrible, when it was time to pick out kids for your group, guess what? No one chose me for any sport. I was left against the wall, literally. Just the nerd sitting there with her book, just like, go ahead, you guys run in that Miami Heat. I could care less. The coach saw how everybody was treating me, leaving me to the side, and he was handsome. He was a good-looking coach. But I'm just gonna let you know, Coach Ashley, yes, I would look him up today to thank him for this moment. When the class said, we don't want her, we don't need her, they did not see a role for me in the physical education class. Guess what my coach said? And I have never helped this man in my life. He looked at them, he says, y'all may be laughing at her today, but have you seen her grades? Have you seen what she's doing? She's gonna be your boss tomorrow. Yes. Yes. I want you to understand, my coach, who I never really had a relationship with, never talked to really, saw value in that fat little girl sitting up against the wall. That's all I was. All I wanted was my brownie and being left alone. But he saw me. He saw me, he gave me voice, he gave me space, and it made me realize that there's more to me. Not to say my parents weren't doing it, but it's something extra when an educator does it. And then another story, a year later from that, when I was in a science class. Can you believe this? I'm gonna tell you another story. Physics class, much like this room right now. I was sitting in the front row because I was nearsighted, and I was eager to take my first class of honors level physics. The teacher came in the room, teacher I'd never met before. She was holding the physics book, came right up to the lectern, put it down on the lectern, and looked around. She surveyed the room. And honestly, everybody, the room sort of looked like how it looks now. A good mix of skin tones and predominantly Latino as well as African American. She looked at us, she looked at me, put the book right down, and said, why should I even waste my time? And took herself right back out the door. That was a shock. And I had to take a beat. I did not respond in the moment. I had to ask myself, what did she say? Why did she say that? Because I already had the picture of Mae Jemison in my head. I'm like maybe gonna work for NASA. I had already decided that. I was already acing every test I ever had. I was devouring science, but she had never seen me before. She didn't know my history. And she said that. I am the daughter of teachers in the same district as her. So I had to sit. And then after about 2 minutes, and I recognized that the lady did not come back in the room, I realized I had a choice to make. Do I get mad? Do I throw the book down too and say, this isn't for me, forget physics, do something else, you'll never be like Mae Jemison, there's no value in you? Or do you go back to what my parents always said about me and what even Coach Ashley knew down outside in that hot trap? I decided to march my little precocious self on down to the principal's office, and guess what I did, mom and dad's in the room? I said, hey, we need another science teacher because ours just left. The kids are waiting. You do not sit there and consume the negativity that even an educator will tell you. Even if your teacher does not see value in you, even if they say your name and say that you should not be in this field, you'll never do well. Blah, 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 blah. I'm gonna need to speak in the words of a wonderful rapper named T.I. You don't know me. I need you to always remember that only you know what you're capable of. And as a child, you're still learning that. Do not let the negativity that you may hear accidentally from one of us teachers infiltrate and stop you from going forward and persisting. I want to say two things to you that I hope you hold on to for the rest of your life. Number one, I am sorry. I'm saying that for every educator, every person who's going to tell you no in your life. You will come up across people who will say your SAT was too low, your ACT was too low, your MCAT is too low, you can't do this, you're too poor, you're too this, you're too that. I am sorry in advance. There will be people who will be detractors and seemingly enemies. I need you to then turn around and hear me say the second part. Thank you in advance for all of the experiments you are about to do, for all the robots you will design, for thank you for all of the patients you may treat in the future. You represent an unknown amount of talent. I can't quantify the impact of what you guys will have. At my department, each year, my little hands impact at least 1,000 patients because who comes on my machine and who gets treated by me? 1,000 people. Isn't that crazy? This little person. And every time I come to a room like this, 200, 300, 1,200 people, guess what? All of the little positivity that I drop in them goes out and infiltrates the world just like the cancer we try to treat every day. I need you to always remember, you can do it if you try. People who are saying you can't just don't know the end of your story. Remind them that, hey, there was a girl from Miami that talked to me at Rice, and you know what? I'm going to give it a go. I need you to hold on to that. This is a picture that I put up on my desk every single time I need a reminder of just what other people have fought. It says, I refuse to be anything but successful. We have no excuses in 2025. I don't care what the latest tweet just said from literally our executive government. You can still succeed. Excellence has not been outlawed. Pursue science. Pursue your dreams. Decide today if it's science for you or art or history, whatever it is. But at least for today, decide. I've seen a lot of flavors of science, and I even like the rocks. I'm shocked. I never liked a rock before. Yes. Check out the geology table, literally another table, not my own. I need you to recognize the number of people who are supporting you, who either birthed you or helped you pay for your bills. You are surrounded by greatness. Every time that I went up against a challenge, I remembered who I represent. My sister, my mom, her husband, my dad, everybody. That's who is invisibly supporting you in all these rooms where you go in and you say, I am the only one of this. There's nobody like me, nobody else from Houston. What am I supposed to do? Now I'm in Rice. Oh my gosh, no one from my neighborhood. It's okay. You have so many supporters with you. I want you to understand, as you move beyond the confines of just your family, mentorship matters. Get a mentor. That's someone who is either an educator or someone in that field who can help inspire you, much like myself. If you look at the numbers, once a girl gets another woman to actually mentor her and help her understand what classes to take, you will not drop out of your program. That is the number one step to avoid failure. Get a teacher who sees something in you. Next, I want you to recognize it never ends. So even me, as old as I am, even faculty need mentors. If we want to publish more papers, do more experiments, get grants, having a mentor helps. Otherwise, I need you to always understand, love your identity, no matter where you come from. Don't water yourself down to match everybody else. Thrive. Throw it in their faces. Where I come from in the beautiful streets of Miami, everybody wears their heritage literally on their back and they throw it in your face. Don't ask us what the official language is in Miami. You will be sorely, sorely confused. What I want you to also understand, be proud of your name. That tells your family's whole story. It's a legacy. It's a history. It's like looking at your DNA unravel, but actually writing it out. Be proud of your name. This particular actress, her name was Uzo Amaka, and she's like, ooh, that's too much for these Americans. Mommy, just call me Zoe. And what did her mom tell her? She said, you know what? If they can learn to say Tchaikovsky, if they can learn to say Michelangelo and Dostoevsky, then they can learn to say Uzo Amaka. Stick to your name. I don't care what country you're originally from or your family's from, hold on dear. And when they stumble over it, when it gets too difficult, correct us. I don't care if they are the president of the university or even just the person cleaning the floor. Hold on to who you are. You are going places. Even a nicer version of Rice. Ooh, I said that, Dr. Rice. I said that. It's UCLA, which I do believe Rice University seems to be based upon. I went there for graduate school, the most beautiful campus on the world. And that's where I really started to feel like I was doing science. And all of those comments from my high school teacher meant nothing when I was literally making knowledge in the lab. I want you to understand, there are so many great colleges that are available to you. This moment right here, when I was done defending my dissertation, this is that moment where I literally did like that, like I was literally giving birth to a baby. And I'm gonna tell everyone in here, men, women, in between, I don't care. This is better than childbirth. I know that for enough. I know that. I know it for two reasons. At the end of the day, this is something you birth for yourself. Your PhD, all the work that you put into it. And please go to your graduation, everyone. Celebrate the small wins, whether it's when you're at your graduate education or even when you finish ninth grade and so forth. Celebrate yourself. And there are moments that are like what I did just last year, where you get to come back to the university you didn't even think you'd get into and give the commencement address. The biggest moment of my life, when UCLA actually called me back and was like, hey, would you be willing to be the keynote? I was like, what? I could not believe that that was coming because I went through so much in my graduate program. I need you to understand the fight is worth it. Not just because you get to wear a big Harry Potter gown. No. It's because you get to do real science. Some of the science that I did, I got to be one of the first Americans at an AAPM to present on. This is when I was at our American Association of Physicists in Medicine, don't worry, AAPM meeting, where I was there with my division head and two of the top scientists in the world talking about something called FLASH. It was born in this hospital here in Sweden. And what I want you to understand, FLASH RT is super duper fast radiation therapy. How does radiation therapy work? It works by breaking up DNA, which is in all living organisms inside of our cells. Once radiation hits it, it causes double-strand breaks or other breaks in the DNA, and that's how you kill a tumor. Woohoo! Isn't that great? But it does it indiscriminately. Ooh, that's bad, isn't it? It'll hurt the normal tissue and the tumor. That's why we have to make it conformal and just shape to where the tumor is. What I want you to see here is this is a cute example of how great FLASH is. So if you give mice a tumor, sorry about the mice, and it's highlighted in blue, and don't give them radiation, they're not alive 35 days after you've implanted the tumor. Then if you give them conventional radiation, only 2 of the mice make it, as you see shown here, after 35 days. But if you superimpose the actual radiation dose delivery and make it super duper fast, FLASH radiation, you can almost spare all of their lives for the entirety of the experiment. That is the difference between regular radiation and delivering it super fast with FLASH radiotherapy. Maybe that was too hard for you to understand, but it was really graphic for me how many mice are still alive. Imagine if you were looking at how much lung damage you're created by giving either regular radiation rates, this is the red bar shown here, that over time you see more lung fibrosis after radiation, but if you deliver it super fast, almost 2,000 times quicker, oh my goodness, you bring down the amount of damage to the normal tissue 70%. This is what's going to allow us to change the entire paradigm of how we treat real cancer patients. And we already have clinical trials doing this in Cincinnati. What I want you to understand, this work is so phenomenal that we even created a whole research platform within our department on it called the FLASH Initiative. And I want you to understand, developments like this take students like you. When you look at physics, perhaps Dr. Reif and a couple of people sitting up here to the front and to my right, they'll already know this is a picture of a black hole. Hello, it's a black hole. How many people have ever seen it before? She came up with the picture. But guess what? Then they asked her, how did she come up with this picture? She said, no one of us could have done it alone. It came together because of lots of different people from many backgrounds. We need your perspective. We don't want the same old people looking at the same projects and not coming up with new solutions. You are necessary. And I'm gonna tell you another secret, a great story, not my own. You don't have to be the best to do great things. This is super important, even for you adults in here who brought the children in. This is a story about how CT scanners were actually invented. This is the man named Hounsfield. Everybody say Hounsfield unit. That's what we use even to this day in order to actually understand what a patient looks like inside. He was the inventor of CT, and this was the image of the first CT scan of a person's brain who he had to use to help them do a surgery. What I want you to understand, there are a lot of people did not see any value in Hounsfield. Why? Because in his early life, listen to what the actual comment from the article about this Nobel Prize winning scientist. What did it say? Godfrey Hounsfield's early life did not suggest that he would accomplish much at all. Give it to the British. He was not a particularly good student. No, no, no. As a young boy, his teachers described him as, what word? Thick. Is thick good? Not talking about your body shape. I know some people think, oh yeah, thick is awesome. No, with regards to your intelligence, thick means dull, means dumb, means stupid, means you won't accomplish much. So the man who won a Nobel Prize for the invention that we all in medicine use every single day and literally say his name as we do it, he got a Nobel Prize despite showing no signs of intelligence until he actually got the Nobel. I want you to understand his story. When he was your age, he had an idea that he wanted to understand how to find treasure in the pyramids. I know, weird and wacky, right? Something a kid in England just thinking about. Wow, if you didn't have to go into the pyramid and you could just shoot something at it and know what's inside so you don't waste your time. That's what he thought about in the back of his mind. One little idea. And he was just a regular engineer working in a company, and then he just worked on little projects, and finally on a vacation that they forced him to do, a doctor talked to him about, guess what? I got this problem. I have a cancer patient, and she has a brain tumor, just don't know where it is. And these x-rays that we get, they only show me 2D. Wish I had a 3D image. And then Hounsfield's like, hold my beer. That's science. So you can have one idea in your life, not even a smart one. Hey, I want to find the treasures in Egypt. That was literally his idea. But when you apply it, when you focus on it, you can develop something amazing. That is a story I need you to understand. You don't need a lot of great ideas. Hold on to the one thing that keeps you up at night. The reason why this program is so important, Reach for the Stars, is because in middle school, almost 3/4 of y'all say, hey, STEM is for me. Loving it, it is so fabulous. Yet, when it's time to show up and stand out for college, only 0.4% of high school girls then choose computer science as a major, and other categories go down as well. All Americans need to like STEM more. Period. It's not just gender-based. If you look at the little the cartoons here, the interest for girls and boys is actually kind of whack. Yeah, I said whack. STEM interest decreases as girls get older. Between the ages of 6 and 12, 66% of y'all love it. Once you hit 13 and 17, you're like, leave me alone with that, 32%. And then boys, it seems like they never liked it. Actually, in 2017, 36% said they had interest, 2018, 24%. It is falling amongst our entire population. So let's remember that this problem of loving STEM is something everybody needs to work on. What I need you to understand, today you are around all the mentors you could ever want. You hit these women up at these tables. You start to identify, none of us came from a rich family, looked like we were just thrown in a lab from birth. No, we built this. We earned this. We did this with a community of support. And that's what this place is representing. What I want you to understand, parents, you are the difference maker. There's so much that we can say here, but it is only for a couple of hours. When you get home, kick that child and remind, yes! Like, don't you remember that loud lady who was talking about you could do anything? Do you think you could do a little bit of science homework right now? Encouragement works. If you don't give a kid encouragement, their interest in careers based on science and support, it's only at 49%. If the teacher does it, 74%. Encouraged by mom, 72%. And then where my dad's at in the house. Can I hear something from that? Yeah. Come on, dads. Oh, that's sweet. Okay. 75, you're a little bit more than mom. I want you to understand, seeing value and promise in your child is key, because you cannot depend on the educator to do all of the heavy lifting. They literally have rooms as big as this of kids. What I want you to understand, this is the best time ever to get your girls, boys, whomever, into the fields, especially mine, medical physics. We've now had 5 past women presidents. We've been giving all of our top awards to women. This was at our award ceremony. These are the top awards in all medical physics, and actually going to 2 physicists who happen to be from my institution, Dr. Martell and Dr. Cody. And I want you to understand, when you actually follow through with your physics or STEM dreams, you can make changes that affect the world. You get interviewed by people from all over, and I want you to understand, your goal in life as you move forward is not identifying just what that major is. I want you to move beyond just getting a job. Everybody in here will get a job someday. Everybody will get a career where you just get skills and develop professionally. At the end of the day, find a calling. What wakes you up in the middle of the night and says, you know what, I'm not gonna give up. I don't care how hard that test is. That's what I want you guys to think about. Don't think about just how much money I make. It's, do I feel satisfied within myself? That is something that my job allows me to do. I want you to develop something called a growth mindset that says that I want to move beyond where I am today. If you have a fixed mindset, you say, I want to avoid making mistakes. I want to be perfect. A+ is all I want, and if I don't get it, I don't know what to do. I'll never be that smart. I already know best. This is good enough, and then if it gets too hard, I give up. That's fixed. That's the red side. My green side, where are my growth-minded people? Yeah, that's right. Woo! Growth-minded. Mistakes help me learn. Parents, learn to say that. Hey, you made a mistake. Hey, learn from that. Don't do the same one twice. Feedback is valuable. I like getting that wrong because then you tell me what not to do. Is this really my best work? I improve with practice and repetition, and I won't give up. This is something we all need to remind ourselves. So a growth mindset, success comes from effort. I can grow my intelligence. It is not fixed. It does not come just from birth. I embrace challenges as a chance to grow. Failure means I'm learning. I'm gonna say that again. An F means I am learning. Feedback helps me grow. If you succeed and not me, I'm inspired. How did you do it? Teach me too. That's the way you need to look. Don't be jealous and just think of competition. And I keep trying even when I'm frustrated. Rooms like this, what's here in front of me and what I see all around the world, whether I'm in Canada, West Virginia, or wherever, this is what keeps me going. Because I remember being the little girl that you are and someone telling me that I did not fit. And realizing how long that stayed with me. I want to do the heavy lifting now and body slam all those no's for you now. I want to be able to metaphorically kick and punch those people in the throat so you don't take it home with you and dissuade other people. I need you to understand, as you become an educator, you inspire the next generation. I have students now that I've trained that are professors in their own right. We literally come on this campus and I get to graduate people and represent our graduate school, and I cannot say this enough. The time to join, especially my field, is now. We even created an astronaut, so you can hit him up next time. Yes. Christopher Williams, a full-fledged medical physicist. What does it take and actually to fall into my path? You get that physics BS, meaning getting the BS degree. I want you then to get a PhD, spend about 5 to 6 years within our field developing that doctorate, and guess what? Parents, you don't pay for a PhD in STEM. Hello, we pay you. Yes, that is the difference. When you go into pure medicine, you gotta pay it back a big loan, hundreds of thousands, almost your first whole year's of paychecks. And then you get paid again for your clinical residency. Just 2 years. Next thing you know, you are me. That's all it takes, and we pay you along the way. What I want you all to remember, get a mentor. Develop that growth mindset. Make friends along the way. Help someone else along the way. And of course, do not give up. I want to give you my best advice at the end. You have the thing that you want to do, so you're like, yeah, Dr. Julie, I want to do it. So guess what? Do it, girl. Just do it. Oh, but I'm scared, though. I'm scared. I don't want to do it right now. Do it anyway. I need you to understand, there is nothing that has been created, no field that we're about to name that you cannot handle or actually succeed in. And then something fun and spicy, they tried to bury us. They didn't know we were seeds. If you're able to take that, you take a picture, you'll let it marinate over dinner tonight. Like, what did she mean by that proverb? It's Mexican orient, and where it came from, and I don't know it in Spanish, so forgive me. And all it sounds so much better in Espanol, but I'm not going to say the whole thing and mess it up. I want you to always remember that you are just a seed, and you know the least you'll ever know in your life right now. It only gets better from here on out. You need to hold on to this. If you have questions about what it's like to get into my field, hit up aapm.org. And then also, if you want to learn more about medical radiation and what that involves, especially if you have a cancer patient or someone in your family, medicalradiationinfo.org, take a pic of that. And of course, thank you everyone for your attention. I hope I'm still on time for you and everything that you wanted. And thank you so much. Let's give a hand clap. Hey! Yeah, any questions? Yeah. Oh, for sure. So early on in the presentation, I said I knew 4 languages. At that time, English, Spanish, French, and German. So like, can I speak it now? No, not. The funny thing is that when we go to a German school, especially one that's actually on the base and so forth, they really force you to learn the languages of people who actually came in and founded in that area. And so the schools there are super difficult. You really got trained in that national language. So they talk in German, but expect you to learn the Spanish and the French as well. Other questions? Yeah, go ahead, sir. Yeah, talk. Was it hard for people pushing you to the side sometimes in school and education? Well, most of it, I'll be honest, people ignored me a lot in school. There wasn't a lot of actually engaging me. And I want you to understand, so there are words like bullying, bad, but ooh, we don't like bullies, right? Arrogant schools. At the end of the day, the hardest thing you'll ever have to do is learn how to find people that like you for you. And treat them well. Don't say, hey, that's just another nerd. What is he like to you? Nerds. I learned how to deal with the people that other people are like. They call them the outcasts. It was cool. And I still like them to this day. So yes, it's a little weird trying to deal with that as a kid. I did. But if you're this wonderful person now, I do friends everyone that I meet. I'm actually way more popular now as an adult in my 40s than I ever was as a 12-year-old. It's very strange. But oh, Emma, please shake her hand. All right, so she asked me, was there any other teacher that supported my dream beyond just my coach Ashley, who I really saw as just a big stalwart supporter? Yes, yes, and yes. All of my English literature teachers that I love to write on the side, one day I write the best site by knowledge, just throwing that out. The English teacher knew me very well, my math teacher, all my calculus teachers, they loved me to death. And my other science teachers understood what I brought to the table. So that it's possible for you to have great experiences with some teachers and then other teachers look at you and it's like, why are you here? And it's okay because we're all human. Learn not to take it personally. It's a hard thing, but as you grow, not everybody's going to like you. But you know what's true? You're not going to like everybody too. And that's all right. The best thing about being my age is that I know I don't like everybody. But I treat everyone with respect, and you never know who I don't like. Isn't it amazing? You just go to the left when they come around. It's all good. I like a yellow shirt.
This is a comment. This may be one of the best languages I've ever heard.
Aww. Thank you for asking about my work right now. I love my job. And the funny thing is that Sabrina and Bridget have seen me in action. I come to work around 7 a.m. every single day, and I leave around 6. I love it. Why? Because I start my day doing well, and we should always good mood. Before you go to school, listen to some music, do something that you like. Before mom's yelling at you, daddy's yelling at you, the bus driver's pushing your button, do something. Then I get to meet my patients. And that is the best part of my day. You know why I like patients? Not because they have cancer, but because they hug you when they're done with treatment. They see you and I get to hold their hand when they're getting ready to do something that's very scary. Well, the type of treatments that I did. Because when they come into the hall and they see the big linear accelerator, they're like, oh no, I don't need this. Oh my gosh, they start doing the moonwalk that. But I am able to literally lean a hand and provide some intelligent explanation for why they must do what they need to do and explain just how much quality assurance I've already done to make it safe. And then when you're done, you get to do a big hug, you get to ring a bell with them and send them on their way. Then I get to meet these wonderful students and teach them in class. My days are busy. After I teach, I do some meetings virtually, and then I just go home and see these people. And so it is the best in the world. And so I want you to find out just how much energy you have, because I am a high energy. This is literally and figuratively. And I love everything. But is it a lot? Yes. But I have energy. Yes. I love you guys. Yes. What was my first job? My first job, honestly, I was about just a little bit older than you. I was a tutor in elementary school. Yes! In elementary, I didn't get paid, but it was the first time that I got to see my parents were educators, and they trusted me to teach a second grader how to read. And when I realized that my fifth grade teacher knew I could read that well, and she trusted me with younger kids, I was like, wow, I need a teacher like my parents. And that was the first job. And also, that's the cheat code. Being a tutor helps you learn to break down a subject better than anyone else. And you just keep doing that throughout school. Even in college, I was a tutor. That was my first job. Yes. What was my favorite part of my career? Whew, that's a good question. I actually have to say, right now, where I'm old enough to look back and be grateful for all the hardship and still see that there's still like 20 more years to go. Like, honestly, like I am super thrilled of who I'm going to be 10 years from now, because this is just sort of midway. Yes. Huh? Dr. Mae Jemison, all the way. And I still haven't met her, and I'm very angry about that. Yes. No, I've never been to space or the moon, but I will throw something on Facebook to see if they're taking one of the origin trips. I still do. My husband doesn't want me to go, but I am going to try. Reach out to somebody. Yes. Yeah.
How many patients do you see?
Oh my gosh. Every single week I see about 10 patients. Yeah. Say that again? Do I work with any kids? Like, do I treat kids? No. That's the line I don't cross. Why? Because I like y'all, and I have them. So it's very weird, because I get so emotionally attached. For me, because my job, I get so close, it's easier for me to deal with someone my own age, or someone way older, than to deal with you. Because if I see you, oh girl, I just have to walk out. That's why I lose you. Okay, good for my yeah.
How long did it take you to have this mindset?
Oh, to have this mindset. That's a very good question. Because it took me literally 3 years into grad school. So I would say when I was about 24 years old, I finally made the connection that this is how I take the bad feedback and really turn it positive. But I did not learn it until then. It took a long time. Go ahead. Yeah, Blue. I do. A little dog named Mark. He's a mutt. He's all mixed up. Black, brown, and white. Yeah, he's all right. And that's a period of birth? Yeah. Go ahead.
I wanted to ask, in your time as a radiation specialist, have you ever been able to avoid giving radiation?
Oh, not here. That would be the doctor's, the MD doctor's purview. And so sometimes we'll do the imaging and then they'll say, you know what, hold on, because we haven't got the biopsy results. And then guess what? We don't have to treat. It does still happen. And also, I get to see the impact of the radiation, where it gets, the tumor gets so much smaller that we're able to adapt and reduce the number of treatments for the patient. Yes, you in front of the blue bottle.
Is there any other advice that
house industry. I have to say that. Get done with your degree. Finish it because it's costing money and time. So really focus. Focus is the main thing. Like, the funny thing is, and I never saw you before, and someone asked me, are you unhappy or something? Like the truth is I really love what I do. I'm not making this up. It's not like an act or anything. I wake up in the morning and I get to help save lives. I feel like the combination of a fireman, of a soldier, all in one. And I get to educate, I get to get hugged by patients, and I get paid well. Shoot! I am so proud that I get to work alongside these people. You have no idea. And I didn't talk about nursing and dosimetry and medical. So there's so many other jobs connected to me. So I'm the best team ever supporting. So you know how much time.
We need to cut it out
Okay,
here.
so we're gonna say 4 papers. Bam, left. Oh, that was the best thing. So actually taking those AP business classes, that was key. So I had to find another teacher. There is no other way. Make sure that you're taking the highest level of STEM as you can and do it successfully. So don't try to learn it on your own. Get the tutor support even if you think you got an A on the test. I don't care. If you're taking physics, geography, whatever, get the tutor and totally dominate. Who's there? Huh? What is the hardest challenge I ever faced? My own self-doubt. Because when you hear other people say, oh my gosh, why are you coming in here? Because especially in college, a class like this, there might just be 5 girls. Literally. One of my teachers, she came into the classroom, Dr. Wright, and literally came up to a lecturer in college, University of Miami, and said, if you don't have an IQ of 120, please leave the room. She said that. And then, let me tell you what happened. About 50 guys just left. 50 engineers got up, took their books down, and left the class and dropped it. And I moved forward an extra run. And I'm like, this is gonna be a hard ride, but you know what? I have a little piece in me already. I'm gonna ride this bull so she breaks down. That's what you have to do. That is the hardest thing. When you know you're going up against something that you can't do yet. That is the worst. You're like, I don't know yet, I don't understand it yet, but guess what? I'm gonna do my best and be humble enough to get help. Okay, yeah. I didn't understand. What is the other hard part of my career? It's the emotional part of actually getting to care about people deeply and learning how to break that down and understand, stay into the technical role, and don't break down because you have to move on to other people.
This is the order that they need. This is the order they need.
Oh, very nice. I see some bird in this out there.
Orange.
Oh, it's blue. Blue is going to be here.
It's not just blue.
I thought it was physical science.
No, orange is going to do the.
Only about 20% of physics PhDs, guess what? Those are the only ones that are girls. 80% are not. Rooms like this are unusual. Our goal is to make sure at least 20 of y'all, literally, out of all of this group, that 20 of you take me on. The rest of you are going to do whatever the heck it is that you guys do on TikTok. But some of you will actually say, you know what? If she does this PhD, so can I. That's how this one is.
Okay, now listen, we gotta cut this off.